The moment had arrived, a culmination of years of separation, sorrow, and silent longing. Joseph, the powerful vizier of Egypt, found his carefully guarded composure beginning to fracture. The sight of his brothers, unknowingly bowing before him, stirred a tempest within his soul. His heart, long hardened by trials and the weight of his high office, now threatened to burst forth with an overwhelming tide of emotion. The pretense of the stern Egyptian official could no longer contain the profound anguish and love he felt. The truth, so long suppressed, demanded its release. With a sudden, decisive gesture, Joseph commanded all his servants and courtiers to depart from his presence. He needed this sacred moment to be unburdened by the gaze of strangers. No foreign eyes should witness the raw, familial drama about to unfold. The chamber was swiftly cleared, leaving only Joseph and his bewildered brothers in a profound silence. This was a reunion too intimate, too fraught with history and pain, for any outsider to observe. The stage was set for a revelation of monumental consequence. Then, with a voice trembling yet resolute, Joseph uttered the words that would shatter their world. "I am Joseph," he declared, the name echoing with the weight of 2 decades of absence and misunderstanding. The simple pronouncement carried an unimaginable power. The very air in the room seemed to thicken with the revelation. The man before them, the formidable ruler, was none other than their long-lost brother, whom they had presumed dead. A profound, heart-wrenching sob escaped Joseph, a sound that resonated through the palace halls. His grief and relief were so immense that his loud weeping was heard even in the distant chambers of Pharaoh's royal residence. It was a cry born of years of suppressed sorrow, now unleashed in a torrent of emotion. The sound bespoke a depth of feeling that transcended mere human utterance, a lament and a rejoicing intertwined. Through his tears, Joseph managed to articulate the question that had burdened his heart for so long. "Is my father still alive?" he asked, his voice thick with longing and apprehension. The well-being of Jacob, his beloved father, was paramount in his mind, a constant ache throughout his years of exile and power. He yearned for news of the patriarch, the shepherd of their lineage. His brothers, however, remained utterly stunned, frozen in a tableau of disbelief and terror. The revelation had struck them dumb, their minds reeling from the impossible truth now laid bare before them. They could not utter a single word in response, their guilt and shock rendering them speechless. The weight of their past transgression pressed down upon them, suffocating any attempt at speech. Perceiving their distress and fear, Joseph quickly sought to reassure his brothers. "Do not be distressed," he urged them, his voice now softer, filled with compassion, "and do not reproach yourselves for having sold me into slavery." He understood the immense burden of guilt they carried, and he wished to alleviate it. He knew that true reconciliation could only begin with forgiveness. He then unveiled a profound truth, a perspective that transcended their human failings. "It was not you who sent me here," Joseph explained, "but God himself." He revealed that their act, though born of malice, had been woven into a larger divine tapestry. Their actions, however grievous, had served a higher purpose, orchestrated by an unseen hand. God, Joseph declared, had sent him ahead to Egypt with a singular, vital mission: to save lives during the impending famine. His journey, from the pit to the palace, was not merely a tale of personal triumph, but a testament to divine foresight. He was placed in a position of power precisely for this moment, to be an instrument of preservation. The famine, he informed them, had already gripped the land for 2 long years, bringing widespread desolation. Yet the worst was still to come, for 5 more years of scarcity were anticipated. The land would remain barren, and the people would continue to suffer unless provisions were made. His presence in Egypt was therefore not just timely, but absolutely critical. God's ultimate purpose, Joseph emphasized, was to ensure the survival of their family, to preserve a remnant of their lineage. Through his elevation, God had orchestrated an extraordinary deliverance, not just for Egypt, but for the very seed of Abraham. Their family, the inheritors of the covenant, would be sustained through this period of immense hardship. Joseph reiterated with unwavering conviction that it was God, and not his brother's malicious intent, who had truly orchestrated his arrival in Egypt. He absolved them of the ultimate responsibility for his fate, placing it firmly in the hands of the Almighty. This divine perspective offered them solace and a path toward understanding. Indeed, Joseph proclaimed, God had elevated him to an unparalleled position of authority and influence. He had been made a father to Pharaoh, a trusted counselor and guide to the king himself. Furthermore, he was appointed lord of Pharaoh's entire household and ruler over all the vast land of Egypt. His power was second only to the monarch. With the weight of the past now understood through the lens of divine providence, Joseph turned to the urgent matter of their family's future. He instructed his brothers to return to their father, Jacob, without delay. Time was of the essence, for the famine continued to rage, and their father's well-being was paramount. They were to hasten their journey back to Canaan. They were to convey to Jacob the astonishing news of Joseph's survival and his exalted status. Thus says your son Joseph, he instructed them to declare, God has made me Lord of all Egypt. This message, delivered with authority, would surely revive their father's spirit and dispel his long-held sorrow. The news of his son's power would be a balm to his weary soul. Jacob, his children, his grandchildren, and all their flocks and herds were to make the journey to Egypt. The entire household, the burgeoning family of Israel, was to relocate to this land of plenty. Joseph desired to gather his entire lineage close, to protect and provide for them during these trying times. No one was to be left behind in the famine-stricken land. Joseph designated the fertile region of Goshen as their settlement, a land rich in pasture and suitable for their pastoral way of life. This strategic placement would ensure their proximity to him, allowing for easy communication and oversight. Goshen would become their sanctuary, a haven from the famine's grip. He promised to provide for them there, ensuring that they would lack nothing during the remaining years of famine. All their needs, from food to shelter, would be met under his watchful care. Joseph's position allowed him to extend this unparalleled generosity, securing the future of his entire family. They would be sustained and protected. Joseph urged his brothers to bear witness to his high position and the abundance of Egypt. They had seen his power firsthand, and their testimony would be crucial in convincing Jacob. They were to hasten their father's arrival, impressing upon him the urgency and the blessing of this relocation. Every moment counted in the face of the ongoing famine. The emotional intensity of the reunion continued as Joseph embraced his full brother, Benjamin. He wept openly upon Benjamin's neck, a profound expression of love and relief for the brother he had not seen since childhood. Benjamin, too, wept in his brother's arms, a silent acknowledgement of their shared history and renewed bond. It was a moment of pure, unadulterated familial affection. Following this tender embrace, Joseph turned to each of his other brothers, kissing them one by one. He wept over each of them, a gesture of forgiveness and reconciliation that transcended all past grievances. His tears washed away the bitterness of years, paving the way for true healing. This act of profound love sealed their reunion. Only after this deeply emotional and physical expression of reconciliation were his brothers finally able to speak with him. The shock and fear had dissipated, replaced by a sense of wonder and relief. They could now engage in conversation, sharing stories, and bridging the chasm of 2 decades. The family bond, once broken, was now powerfully restored. News of Joseph's brothers' arrival and the astonishing reunion quickly reached Pharaoh's palace. The tidings spread throughout the royal court, reaching the ears of the king himself. Pharaoh and all his courtiers were greatly pleased by this development, recognizing the significance of Joseph's family joining him in Egypt. It was a testament to Joseph's loyalty and the stability he brought. Pharaoh, in his benevolence, readily granted permission for the brothers to bring their father and their entire families to Egypt. He understood the importance of family to his trusted vizier and wished to honor Joseph's devotion. The king's decree opened the way for the entire clan of Jacob to find refuge in Egypt. Furthermore, Pharaoh offered them the very best land in Egypt, a place of fertility and abundance. He promised that they would live off the fat of the land, enjoying prosperity and security under his protection. This was a royal decree of immense generosity, ensuring their comfort and well-being. They would want for nothing. Pharaoh then instructed Joseph's brothers to take wagons from Egypt, laden with provisions, for their families and for Jacob's transport. These sturdy conveyances would ensure a comfortable and safe journey for the elderly patriarch and the women and children. It was a practical demonstration of Pharaoh's commitment to their welfare. Joseph, ever thoughtful and generous, provided his brothers with all the necessary provisions for their long journey back to Canaan. He supplied them with ample food, ensuring they would not suffer hunger on the road. He also gave them fresh sets of clothing, a symbol of their renewed status and the abundance awaiting them. To Benjamin, his full brother, Joseph bestowed a special gift: 300 shekels of silver and 5 sets of fine garments. This generous offering was a mark of his particular affection and a tangible expression of his joy at their reunion. It was a gift befitting a beloved brother, a sign of his enduring love. For his father, Jacob, Joseph sent a magnificent array of gifts. He dispatched 10 jackasses laden with Egypt's finest products, a testament to the land's bounty and Joseph's high standing. These were delicacies and treasures fit for a patriarch, a symbol of the honor Joseph wished to bestow upon his father. He also sent 10 jennies, beasts of burden, carrying grain and bread, ensuring that Jacob and his household would have sustenance for their journey. These provisions were not merely practical, they were a powerful message of Joseph's care and foresight. His father would be well provided for. As his brothers departed, Joseph offered a final, crucial piece of advice. He urged them to avoid conflict or recriminations on the way, to put aside any lingering bitterness or blame. "Do not quarrel on the journey," he admonished them, knowing that the past could still sow discord. He desired peace and unity among them. Upon hearing the astonishing news from his sons, Jacob was initially disbelieving, his mind unable to grasp such an improbable turn of events. He was dumbfounded, the weight of 2 decades of grief making it impossible to accept such a joyous revelation. The news seemed too good to be true, a cruel jest. However, as his sons recounted the full account of Joseph's survival and his rise to power, and as Jacob saw the wagons Joseph had sent, his spirit began to revive. The tangible evidence, coupled with their earnest testimony, slowly broke through his disbelief. Hope, long dormant, flickered back to life within him. With renewed vigor and a heart overflowing with emotion, Jacob declared his intention. "It is enough," he exclaimed, his voice filled with profound relief and joy. "My son Joseph is still alive. I must go and see him before I die." The prospect of reuniting with his beloved son filled him with a powerful, life-affirming purpose